high in the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H. Undertaker, I'm your maker, bury the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the choke slam on face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, tell like I'm to muscle. If you suffer like tomatoes, I'ma keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the vein, you best be getting in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you wait down with that, then I got two words for you, suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up.
Welcome everyone to your longest running Australian wrestling podcast, Wrestle Radio Australia. I'm your host, Todd Eastman. Good to see you this week. We have a great guest lined up this week with Jett Rouka, one of the young high flyers out of Melbourne. Good to catch up with him, good to chat with him. Good that he could make some time because we are all very busy coming up on Easter. And up here in Brisbane, we had a bit of a scare this week. We had a bit of a COVID scare. So we had a little bit of a lockdown for a couple of days. And luckily now that they've sort of controlled the break or outbreak. Now all we have to do is wear masks when we go outside for a couple of weeks. It's not that bad. I mean, really, if you can't wear a mask when you're going outside, what's the problem? It's a bit of cloth over your face. I mean, I don't like it. It itches my beard. My beard sticks through and it's hot. But yeah, I do it because it's for the greater good. And the sooner we can get all this stuff over and done with, the sooner we can all go back to life. We're all a bit scared because, you know, a couple of shows coming up, might have to cancel them, stuff like that. Luckily, that hasn't been the case. And we can all keep going on with our relatively normal lives at the moment. I'm on holidays from my shoot job as of, yesterday. So it's the first day, Good Friday. Everyone's on holidays, but I'm actually on holidays. So I might even be banging out a few extra podcasts, or I might even start getting some stuff on my Twitch channel if I can work out how to do that. I'm very untechnological. So I might do some watch alongs and stuff like that on there. Who knows? Keep your eyes peeled or don't. It's up to you. Yeah. Anyway, we got Jett Rouka on the show this week. Like I said, one of the young up-and-comers out of Melbourne, high flyer. Also does a lot of stuff with the MCW Academy. So it's good to see even the young guys that are making their name in Australia at the moment are also giving back already, which is that is awesome to see for the future of Australian wrestling. And in that vein, with the future of Australian wrestling, this is what I go to with my views from the East right here on Wrestle Radio Australia. And after that, Jett Rouka.
3 Count Academy in Brisbane are having PWA's own The Rapscallion Mick Moretti for 3 wrestling seminars on Wednesday the 7th, Thursday the 8th and Saturday the 10th of April. Wednesday being an open skilled level session, Thursday an advanced session, and on Saturday is for beginners. Price for non-members is $55 for one session or $100 for 2, or discuss joining the Academy and learn regularly from Dunkzilla Mark Davis. Please contact 3 Count Academy via their Facebook page or by email at admin@3countfitness.com to register your interest. Limited spots are available, so get in quick to learn from one of the best in the country today.
On this week's Views from the East, I thought I'd talk a little bit about, we had the episode last week with Del Cano, where we talked about the issues he has with NHPW and all the stuff surrounding that. And first of all, I would just like to thank everybody that reached out to us through messages, through other forms of contact to let us know that they'd also had sort of problems in that area, not only with NHPW, but with other federations. And all I can say to that is, again, NHPW, I would love for you to come on the show. To be perfectly honest, I want you to come on the show. I want to be able to talk about it and have this free-flowing conversation about these issues. For the other federations, if somebody wants to talk out about it, I will have them on to talk about it, because I think every federation at the moment around the country, hell, around the world, that are doing stuff like this, that aren't letting their wrestlers go out and train in other places if they want to, seminars, aren't letting them work in other places, aren't letting them get opportunities in their own state to wrestle, to get more reps. You're doing you guys a disservice. You're taking money to train them, which is great. It's great that you've got a business where you can take money and train them and have somewhere for people to train, but you also got to let them grow. Okay, then that's it gets me so mad when I see and hear about seminars that are poorly attended because for the mere fact of the matter is some schools won't let their students go to seminars, won't let their students branch out, won't let their students grow as wrestlers, grow as artists. Because that's, as much as we say it's a sport, as much as what we say it's a show, it's an art. These guys are artists and they need to learn other things to put in their toolbox, to put in their art toolbox. And as much as you guys might be some of the best trainers around the world, or the best trainers in your area, or the best trainers in your street, it doesn't matter. There is also always people that know a little bit better, that can teach little things that you don't know how to teach or that you don't know. And to restrict your students from not going out and learning those things, maybe coming back to your school and helping teach your students those things, which therefore grows your school, is doing yourself a great disservice, is doing your students a great disservice. And to be perfectly honest, you guys should be, if you guys are doing this and willingly doing this, you should be ashamed of yourselves. I know for a fact that up here in Queensland, there is a seminar coming up, because I've been advertising it for the last few weeks here on the show, with Mick Moretti. Mick Moretti has wrestled around the country 1,000 times. He's wrestled at PWG. He's wrestled against Progress wrestlers. He's wrestled against everybody you can think of. And if you think that you know more and that you could teach more than what he could teach them in a seminar, you guys are sadly mistaken. Honestly, it makes me so mad to think that some people are restricting talent from going out and learning. You need to stop this. You need to encourage you guys to go out and train. You need to encourage you guys to get better. The whole thing about this thing, the whole thing that makes this industry stronger, is that everyone in it gets better. And the only way we all get better is by learning from each other. Now, that is it for this week's Views from the East. That's my opinion, and you're all entitled to it. We'll be back after this with Jett Rouka right here on Wrestle Radio Australia. Jett Rouka, king of the slingshot. Get your King Shot shirt today. Available now for pre-order. Jett Rouka, thank you so much for joining us tonight, mate.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me on. Always good to chat about wrestling. I love it. It's good to hear other people's opinions on things. It's good to just chat about it and just, get out there.
I love chatting to guys that have got Twitch channels, because their shit always looks so good on the other side. You got like the nice camera and the microphone's good. How long
I don't have my ring light at the moment, which is why it's really dark. But I know all about the setup, man.
How long have you been doing Twitch? Because I know, I think when the pandemic happened, I think everybody decided, oh, we're going to do this now for a while. Was that kind of with you as well?
I've always wanted to buy myself a gaming PC, but I just never had the funds for it. And then when I moved out of home and I just obviously started planning out my expenses a bit better, I managed to save myself some money, and I built myself a very entry-level PC, like nothing flashy or anything. And then I just decided to stream games. Even I didn't even care if anyone watched. I just wanted to put something out there, just so it looks like I'm active on socials still as a wrestler, because obviously you can't wrestle during COVID. And then it just got really fun, and people started getting involved. And then we got Tony Villani involved, and we would stream together. I mean, sometimes it'd be 6, 7, 8 of us playing games, and it was just like a daily thing. Every night we'd get on at 7:30, we'll start playing games. Doesn't matter what game it is, someone will be streaming it. So there's always, your chance to kind of put yourself out there and get the fans to listen to you, or even if it's just strangers tuning in, they get to just hear you and talk to you as well.
Mm-hmm. And because you almost would sort of decided to take a step away from wrestling for a while, and then sort of COVID hit, is yours maybe the most fortuitous story where you've decided to take a step away, and then the whole wrestling went, okay, we'll do it as well?
Yeah. Well, I decided to take time off wrestling because of COVID. I thought it was a prime opportunity to pull the pin. So I kind of pulled the pin on all my bookings before they got taken from me. So I messaged people saying, hey, I'm just taking some time off. I'm so sorry. And then, because I didn't think COVID is going to last as long, right? So I pulled the pin on the bookings, hoping to get my surgery done within those 3 or 4 months. And then all of a sudden they said, because it technically was elective surgery isn't allowed to go forth. So then not only did I pull my, basically lose 2 months of bookings, I also had to wait till after COVID to actually have my surgery. So it is a bit, fortuitous, the fact that I obviously had it during COVID, but I still had to wait till after COVID anyway to have my surgery. So it kind of bit me in the ass. I just lost 2 months of wrestling essentially.
But you're fine now. The surgery's all good and you're all good to go.
Yeah. Well, look, it's roughly 5 to 6 months because if people don't know, I had surgery on my nose. I couldn't breathe through my right nostril because I broke my nose when I was younger, and it just gave me problems of sleeping. And just real intense exercise was horrible because I couldn't breathe through my nose normally. So in between, exercises, I'd just be dying, breathing, really struggling to breathe through my mouth. But now everything's all good. Like I can breathe better. It's still a little bit swollen on the tip of my nose. I'm still a little bit sensitive, but like I'm slowly getting feeling back and everything. So, but yeah, I mean, I can wrestle again. I've had 2 matches since I've been back, and nothing's gone wrong so far.
Yeah. Well, you're at Deathmatch and then MCW, wasn't it?
No, not Deathmatch. I had King of Colac about 2 weekends ago. Wrestled against Tony Villani, one of the up-and-coming guys from the MCW Academy. It was his first time really stepping out of the academy. He did the Wrestling for Relief show. He's done 2 ballroom brawls. And we had 2 MCW Academy showcases where just the trainees wrestled against one another. So this is his first time stepping out. And I kind of put his name forward, and the bookers were like, yeah, man, we'll have him on. Like, we know he's fine. And yeah, so that was really cool for me too, being his coach as well, getting to wrestle him.
But what's that like because like you're not even in the business a hell of a long time, and you've already got guys that you're bringing up and bringing along. Well, how does that feel as a guy that's sort of in the middle of it and working his way up, to see someone that you're training starting to do the same thing as you now?
Honestly, man, if anything, I love coaching more than I like wrestling. And a lot of people will be like, "What? That's weird." But I've got a teaching degree myself, so I really like seeing people progress, and I love seeing people start from somewhere and achieve goals. The fact that I am so young and just kind of starting out in wrestling probably gives me a bad rep, because it's like, oh, why does he get to teach people? Why does he get to coach people? But people need to understand that Tyson and I have been at the academy since day one, and we were part of MCW, even if it was just setting up the ring for 2.5 years before that as well. So we know Jamie, James, what's his name? Jay. We know Jay really well. We know Kristen really well. So I'm trying to, because I know him as his shoot name.
I know.
Yeah, my bad. That's my bad. Jay Andrews. There we go. Sorry, guys. Sorry, coach, if you hear this, my bad. So we kind of know the curriculum for the academy off by heart. How they build the wrestlers from literally non-existent athletes to people who can perform in the ring. And I think Jay just had that trust in us to be able to at least teach basics and teach fundamentals that some people just kind of skip over. Mm-hmm. We're not an academy where it's like, hey, rock up on your second day. You look pretty athletic. I want to teach you how to do a suplex. It's not like that. It's very, very, very slow. And you'll see the people that come out of the academy, like your Tony Villani, like your Ant Cava, when they decide they're ready to step out of MCW, or the academy, I should say, you'll see the quality of wrestlers the academy is producing.
It's also probably pretty good to have like guys that are sort of starting out and in it, doing the basics and the coaching the basics and all that sort of stuff, because you've literally just come out of it, if you know what I mean. So you really know what you're looking for when you're doing it. So you'd be pointing it out to those guys, going like for instance, like you need to attack the mat when you're taking a bump and all of that sort of thing. Stuff that the guys that have been in the business maybe for 10, 12 years are sort of like, they take it as a given that you should just know that you're supposed to attack the mat when you take a bump, sort of thing.
Yeah. The academy works with like a level system, so for beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And within beginners, you might have people that are more experienced than other beginners. So you still have that group of people that you have to kind of differentiate for. And differentiation is a huge thing in teaching. So I found myself, I'm really good at doing something like that because of, I studied it for 4.5 years or 5 years, whatever I did. And something I said to them the other day, which I think people take for granted, is the reason we hound bumping so much at training is because very, very rarely in a match will you have 100% control as to how you bump. When you're just walking in and bumping at training, if you're not bumping correctly every single time, you will not be able to bump correctly when someone's giving you a hip toss and you're not in complete control as to how you're going to flip and how you're going to land. So then they're like, oh yeah, I get it. It has to be perfect every time, because realistically it has to. It's your body you're protecting, right? All about longevity. So no, you're right. Attack the mat, make sure it's perfect every single time, pound it in so they understand, and then go from there.
And it's amazing too, as a like from learning that as a rookie and sort of coming up, how much that becomes just muscle memory. Because I know, like, I don't train anymore. I don't, but anytime I take a bump, I don't even think about it. It just happens, because it's how I was drilled to do it, and I've done it a 1,000 times at training, and now when I have to, it just bang, it happens.
Yeah. And look, there's always going to be those things that are just normal to you, and you just happen to just grasp, and that's fine for you. But what I've come to realize from coaching is that some people find it more difficult than others. Like, I know people who can't roll really well, but their in-ring movement is fantastic. It's just like those transitional rolls and stuff that they just struggle, they can't quite grasp. And luckily for us, those are things you can do at home and just, develop at home with rolls and everything. But the hardest thing was kind of reinventing the way we were learning, because Tyson and I came from George's gym, where it was very like I love George. Like, he basically created who I am, right, as a wrestler. But it was very rushed. It was kind of like, oh, I see you're an athlete, let's do this today. And it's like me I didn't know anyone. I'm like, yeah, cool, let's do that. But coming out of that, I kind of had to come to the academy, and we essentially were taught from scratch, basically how to wrestle. And you'll notice between 2018, 2019, like the way I wrestle changes completely. Like, it changes, and my understanding of wrestling changes, because we have theory sessions and we have super classes where we break down matches, and these are things I've never done before, because I didn't watch a lot of wrestling when I was younger. So yeah, it comes differently to others, but it's also good to reinvent some things that you are good at, because otherwise you just become stagnant and you plateau and you never progress.
And it's also, like you said, you started out at George's, you moved to MCW, like the fact that you're learning from different people. So you can take something that you've learned from George, and then you can take something you've learned from MCW and go, well, this fits me better, or this, I like the way this is done, and that sort of thing. And I think that's so important that guys and girls, just wrestlers, get out there and train with as many people, as many different ways as they can. And I think it's so important that happens.
No, absolutely. And unless I sign a full-time contract one day, which will never happen, like I will never get the money back I spent on wrestling and spent on training. Like, it'll never happen. I've just put too much money on flying out for seminars and, paying extra because I wasn't part of that company. So I had to fork out another $50, something like that. You know what I mean? Like, but at the end of the day, that's what got me to be wrestling at MCW. Like, Tyson and I's goal from the start, I keep saying Tyson's name. If you guys don't know who it is, Tyson Baxter. He lives with me, my tag team partner. From the start, it was like, we want to wrestle at MCW. We're going to do whatever we can to be better, to be good enough to wrestle there. And even though the academy was our big break, I like to think that we were at a level that was at least considerable before we even went there. And that's because we flew to Queensland to wrestle over there. We had, a seminar with Osprey. We did the Okada seminar. We spent a whole lot of money just to be there, even though we weren't part of that group, but we were still considered like, oh, they're wrestlers. Why shouldn't they be able to do it? And I think that's what kind of helped us to get to where we are.
You also did the EPW Super Camp, didn't you?
The EPW? Yeah, I did that. Yeah. That was fantastic. And I think what really helped Tyson and I get MCW's attention, like creative's attention, was when we flew out to EPW for their the Perth Royal show. We wrestle 3 times a day for 8 days. And Jay kind of just flew it like, hey, there's a booking at EPW needs guys to go wrestle for them to kind of make up numbers. Do you want to go? We said, EPW, hell yeah, we'll go. And it was kind of like our test. So people like Gavin McGavin and, Data Storm, like they were kind of like watching us and just being like, oh, are these guys okay? And then we got really good feedback. It would have been all over Twitter at one stage as well, that, wrestling in Melbourne is safe in the future of these people. Like, I was really happy with that, like kind of marking out it, because it's like, I went out there to prove myself, and I feel like I did that. And that kind of was like the turning point,
It's so like those type of things, like a Royal show, or even if you do a Supernova, they're so good because you're getting like three matches a day. So you're getting like reps, and it's so good to pick on like just little things you can do. because you could wrestle a match this week and go, oh, I did this wrong, I need to do it, and then you don't have another match for like 2 weeks. But if you're like, I did this wrong, I know I did this wrong, you got a match in another 2 hours.
Yeah.
So you can back up and just go, oh, yes, that worked. Awesome.
Yeah. No, definitely. And like working shows like that, where it's like, you're not wrestling for a wrestling crowd, it makes it like, a lot of people think it's harder, but I think it's actually easier because like you honestly, you dumb it down. People can be able to see me do this. You dumb it down.
They will. I'm on YouTube as well.
All right. Can you crop my name out? I just realized it didn't change.
No, you never see it. Don't worry.
All good, man. All good. So like, it's wrestling for people like that. It's much easier because like you go out there, you say to yourself, I don't have to do a reverse runner. I don't have to do a brainbuster. And then you realize how simple wrestling actually is and how easy it is to follow. And that gives you appreciation for like, you don't have to go out there and bust your balls every single match. Go out there and do what's required and you'll still have a good match. And that's what the Royal Show taught me. Yeah.
I saw a quote this week actually on somewhere on social media. It was from Edge talking about German suplexes. I don't know if you saw it or not.
Well.
Yeah,
I saw it.
It's basically for those of you who haven't seen it, is like he was sort of saying, I don't know why guys do the no sell for a German suplex to pop up and fire up and go to something else because German suplexes legitimately hurt. Why don't you sell them like they hurt? Because then basically what he's basically saying is like, the more you sell the moves you're taking, the less work you have to actually do to convince the crowd this is hurting me.
100%. Yeah.
And
a lot of the times it's the person giving's fault as well. You can't take that away from them. Sometimes they're like, hey man, this is my transitional move. And it's like, well, I don't want to do it like that. And they're like, but it's my move. And it's like, that's where you kind of need that match agent, like you need someone who can mediate and be like, I think he has a point. Like German suplexes suck. Like make it look like it sucks because it does. Like, I don't want to take 9 suplexes. Screw that. This shit hurts, man. Like, so I think a lot of the time people blame people who sell the move, but honestly, without even knowing, a lot of the time it's people who gives the move's fault as well because they told them to do that.
Who agents? That's probably not a word, but we'll go
agents.
Yeah, who agents is I said it again. Who does the matches at MCW? Like, who are the veterans that agent your matches over there?
Just creative. So
okay.
Yeah, so you just ask questions and like honestly, there's not a lot of use for them because there is a lot of use for them. Sorry, but you don't need to kind of have that conversation a whole lot of time because what's required of you is very strict and it's very thought about and everyone's on board. So it's very rare that you have to be like this is trash. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of been laid out for you. So you just have to go and do your job and find that middle ground.
Okay. So what inspired you and Tice to like tag up? Was that something where you saw there was sort of like a gap in tag teams and you saw it's not an easier way, but it gives you more of a chance to get booked in more places if you can be a tag as well as a single, or was it just something that you've always liked tag wrestling, or?
No real answer. Oh, actually there is. So Tyson got me into wrestling. So I met him through footy. I went to go watch him wrestle one show at NAW. And I was like, this is pretty cool. Like I asked him like, hey man, can I just come try it out? Like it's in the off season for rugby. I just want to try something out. Cool, whatever. I went to train and like I got my first match after a while and like I loved it. So obviously I'm still here. So and it was just from then, like Tyson and I, we trained together all the time. We'd talk outside of wrestling. Like he was my only real wrestling friend for ages because I just hadn't wrestled anywhere, so I hadn't met anyone yet. And then we had this idea about like, because at the time we were just wrestling for NAW. So it's like, why don't we become a tag team and really push towards the tag titles, because they don't have a lot of face tag teams. They had Brothers in Arms, they were called, which was Richie Taylor and Zane Taylor at the time. But there's only so many times you can have these guys win the titles, right? It's like kind of like your New Day, where it's like they've been 74 time champions.
Yeah.
It's like how many possible times can they win and then lose and then win again? So we're like, why don't we change it up? We'll find a way for us both to shine, but together. And we found the kind of the name that sticks. And then we wrestled at APW and we enjoyed it a lot. And I think because we know each other's movesets and know how we wrestle so well, it just works, to be honest. Like we have a very similar ideology when it comes to wrestling. We want everything to make sense, but we also like going out there and just having fun as well. So a lot of the time we end up being mediators for one another as well. So I can honestly tell Tyson, that was trash. Like, don't do that again. And like he can tell me the same thing, and it's happened many times before, and that's why I worked so well together as a tag and even as single competitors as well, because he would still step in and help me even if I was a singles competitor.
Yeah, well, it's always good to have that one person that's not, say, creative or something in the show telling you that. And it's not because you can. I've always say, and I probably say it so much on this that it's not funny, that you've got 1,000 people that tell you you're doing a great job and don't change. Everything was great. That was an awesome match. You were so good. There's only a few of them that say, well, you did this wrong. You could do this. Like, you can improve on this. Have you thought about doing this? I think those people are so important to help improve, because you're never going to improve if people are just telling you everything you're doing is good.
No, exactly right. Because that's when people start getting complacent. And that's when people start getting kind of like one-dimensional. Like in any art form, like if you're one-dimensional, you keep doing the same stuff over and over again, sooner or later someone's going to lose it. People are going to lose interest, right? That's why, like, Miley Cyrus's career blew up when she started doing all this, wacky stuff. People can hate on it all she wants. That blew up her career. She's huge because of it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes people will tell you, it's not working. This needs to happen. And then you're like, oh, I'll consider it. Then you both work on something together. Then you try something new, and it's like, whoa, that's sick. People love that. Let's continue doing that. Being a one-dimensional wrestler is very hard work. I don't know why people do it. It's very hard. I don't know. It's so hard to go out there and do the exact same thing every single time. It gets boring. Like, why would you want to do it? Were you born in South Africa, or did you come out? Were you born out here, or were you come? I'm having a great time tonight. Were you born there? In 2000.
Thank you.
Yeah, we immigrated in 2009. So I've been here for 12 years. The 23rd of March was our 12-year anniversary in Australia.
Okay. And you didn't follow wrestling at all over there at all?
I mean, I wouldn't say follow. Follow is definitely not the right word. I watched it. It was like, we didn't have pay TV. It's called DSTV over there. So basically Foxtel. So we didn't get, the Raw and SmackDown tapings and everything come through. So whatever I watched was what my grandmother recorded on video cassettes and sent over in the post. So I'd watch maybe, let's say there's a 4-month program of, I think the biggest one I remember was Cena Orton, which finished a SummerSlam and a tables match, I'm pretty sure. In that 4-month program, I maybe saw 3 matches. And then I saw the blow off. So it's like I didn't really get to experience the whole build up, which is probably why wrestling never captivated me as much as it should have, because I didn't see those big storylines progress, and I didn't get to feel what they wanted me to feel. It was just kind of like, oh, this time Orton wins. Oh, Cena wins here. Why is his knee hurt? I don't know, man. It's just that's what happened. So I was very a marginal fan. It was very here and there.
See, to me, that's so funny, because that's literally how I grew up here in Australia, because I'm ancient. And when when the way I got to see wrestling was on VHS, and it was the big 4 pay-per-views a year. That's all you really saw. And every now and then they'd put out those compilation videos that you would see. But the compilation ones didn't even come around until a lot later on. So it was literally you would see those big 4, and that's all you'd see. And they were a good 3 to 4 months behind what was actually happening in America. So you'd see SummerSlam in our summer. Yeah. And you'd see, you know what I mean? So
exactly, to me, which is way too late.
Yeah, to me, I wouldn't realize, because I'm like, oh yeah, it's SummerSlam, it's summer. Yeah, okay, it fits.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It wasn't until that, but it was sort of I think because of the way it was back in the day, how they worked towards those 4 pay-per-views, it was easy enough for us to follow, because they give you the highlight packages and all that sort of stuff. It's funny to me that the way you came up was sort of the way I did, but in a totally different way.
Yeah, no, I get you. It's honestly, I've heard a lot of people say the same thing. They just watch what their friends who get that, because, for example, I think it was Tyson's parents, or maybe it might have been Aiden's parents, that like they didn't want them watching a lot of the wrestling. So then one of them would grab it from the other person when their parents aren't watching or something like that. It's like a lot of people saw that, the fragments of wrestling, but it just obviously hit harder, in regards to like how much they loved it. I still loved it. Like I was Rey Mysterio's probably, I wouldn't say his biggest fan, but like I loved Rey Mysterio because I was tiny, and tiny people winning, that's awesome. Like I want to see them win all the time. But it wasn't like no, you go. Sorry.
No, I had the hookup because I worked in a video store when I turned 16. I started working in a video store, and I didn't have Foxtel or Galaxy as it was called then. There was two. There was Foxtel and Galaxy that used to go, or Optus. They used to go at the same time, and one of them had the Raws and Smackdowns, and the other ones had the Nitros. So I used to have a kid that would record Raw and SmackDown and Nitro for me, and he would bring them into my work. And in change for change of that, I would give him free videos.
Yeah, awesome.
And then I'd take those videos to another guy I knew who used to get ECW home shows, and I would trade that for those.
Amazing. So you got to see everything essentially.
In the end, I did, but I had to network my way to do it.
Yeah, and wrestling's all about networking. You know that for a fact. So you started young.
Yeah,
you started young.
Exactly. So when you started, you sort of remarked you played rugby before, so you're sort of used to getting like hit.
Yeah, contact doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me whatsoever. Yes.
So when you did start, was it sort of a thing where you just wanted to do the high flying like Rey Mysterio sort of stuff, or did you want to learn the other? Did you think you're a little big man? Is I guess a good way to say it.
No, honestly, I think the high flying thing kind of just got given to me because I'm small and like I'm pretty athletic. Like I had a trampoline when I was younger, so just flips were just natural to me because I just did them all the time. And I did like tiny bit of gymnastics. Like I'm not talking like I did like a whole term's worth. It was like 3 or 4 classes. Like if someone asked me, have you done gymnastics? I say no. That's how little I did it. You know what I mean? So I think I'm very blessed. Both my parents were very athletic when they were younger. Like dad played quite high level rugby and cricket. Mum surfed, she paraglided. And like, it was just like, I've got a very athletic family. So I think I'm just like naturally blessed with like athletic ability. And like, I'm not trying to show off. It's just like, that's just how it is. I mean, what I make up in athletic ability, I lose in like the mental state. Like I'm not the smartest person you'll ever meet, I don't think, but the flips thing just kind of given to me because I think people just expect it. I don't hate it. It's just so much risk involved. And like, I'm 24 years old. If I break my neck now, not only can I not wrestle, I can't do anything else either. So, I just want to, that's why when it comes, like, I don't know how I'm going to change the character. I think people just expect it of me, but realistically, I just want people to look at me as more than just a dude that goes out there and does flips because I barely do it nowadays. So, if that's something I can help them realize, then I guess it's going to be better for me.
I think it's better that, like, I remember that old thing where Ricochet used to say when he first started out, he would do all that crazy sort of stuff and get all but then sort of like tone it all back. So when he did it occasionally, he would get the big payoff for it. Is that something like?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be something more like you would like to adapt into your repertoire, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it a big thing? Like I know that MCW do cover sort of everything. Like you've got Crackers in there doing your promos, you've got Jay, you've got Miami. Is it how big an emphasis do they put on ring psychology and learning like something? I want to say less is more, but sort of like fitting the new style into the old psychology. Because I think that personally is the best wrestling you could see, is if you can fit the new style of moves, moveset, etc., into the old style psychology. I think that's a perfect marriage of wrestling, to be perfectly honest with you.
So the MCW Academy slogan is "You never lose, either you win or you learn." If I have to choose another one based on what we do, it's less is more. That's literally all we teach, all we coach. It's like, you don't have to go out there every single time and bust your balls and hurt people just to try and make it look as flashy as possible. Like focus on telling stories, focus on character development. Within a story, there's a long character arc. Within a character arc, there's multiple matches. Within multiple matches, there's 5 different stories. Within those stories, there's 40 people. You know what I mean? Like involve everyone, try and get everyone involved. Be part of the story. You know what I mean? Like it's we focus a lot on reacting. So sometimes people might go, like they might punch you harder than normal. You should be able to react to that because that's how wrestling is. That's how it would happen in real life, right? So sometimes we'll stop a complete class like, this is not working. You guys aren't getting it. This has happened. Why have you not done this? Because I guarantee you in real life, if someone did that to you, this is what you would do. And they're like, oh, because we're trying to. No, not because. This is what you would do. Do it. Like, stop trying to be too fancy.
Yeah.
So to go with what you're saying, we do try and do the big mold of where it's like less is more, but it's also, like if you can fit in that flashy stuff and make it mean something, that's the big thing, the meaning behind it, then you've hit the nail on the head of wrestling. That's how it should be.
You said something there that really didn't trigger me, but it's the one thing I hate is when you're giving someone feedback and they give you the yeah buts.
Yeah, but I was just.
Yeah. But I was just no.
Yeah.
This is what like you can take it, you can like do it, but no yeah buts because it's but
but nothing. Like
yeah.
Look, there's times where the yeah buts and the I was just is completely fine. Like especially when we're doing like super character based classes where it's like we're going to work on heat today. I want you to get your character over as much as possible. Like I can't tell you what your character does and doesn't do. Like that's something I don't have that leeway. You know what I mean? But if I tell you like this was too aggressive or there should have been this, then you can say like, oh, how could my character have done that? Maybe answer the question with a question so then I can explain it to you instead of saying no, but no. Let's work together to make it better. That's what wrestling's all about.
Yeah, I was I watched some matches for one of the guys. I won't say it is because I don't want to embarrass him. But it was like he asked me, so what did you think about it? And I said, I want you to watch that match again and just pretend like there was no crowd there. He's like, why? I said, because you had that match like there was no crowd there.
Yeah.
You didn't once look at the crowd, you didn't once engage them. You could have been doing that at training and it would have been the same match.
Yeah.
So how important do you find it is to make that connection with the crowd when you're out there?
I feel like one of my strengths in wrestling is building sympathy for myself in regards to like wrestling, not just being an ass.
Yeah.
But so what I found, this is another thing that I found was really interesting about the Perth Royal show is when you're getting your ass handed to you and you're lying on the ground and you're reaching out to the crowd, like look at someone, find that little boy who's like anxiously waiting for something to happen, look at him in the eyes and say, like almost voice, like help me, like, oh, I need you or something like that. And I find that it helps because not only am I connecting with the crowd, but they feel like they can connect with me too. At the academy, you find it really hard because we have a cap of 12 people who can come to class. So sometimes there's only 10 people watching you. But I was like, hey man, sometimes you're going to wrestle in front of no one. Like you got to still be able to work for people who are watching the video on demand. You've got to be able to like get them to sympathize with you as well. So that whole thing about wrestling to the crowd is huge and big emphasis on it. Like if you get kicked in the gut, are you going to do this? Like, no, don't do that. What are you doing that for? Stop that.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Yeah.
Yeah. It's also the thing, like, to your point, I like doing that too. As a manager, I like doing it. If I can find a little kid that I know is really into it, I will focus on that little kid. And like when my heel is beating up the face, I will blame the kid. I was like, this is your fault. This is for you.
Yeah.
This is because you like this guy. And that kid will fire up. And oftentimes around, you'll see another couple of kids will get with him on that. And it's so I always find that you can almost screw up some stuff in a match and it's fine because the crowd at that point, they don't care because they just want to see you win as a face.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, think about the UFC, for example, right? A guy might, in the 6th round, knock his opponent out, but for the first 3 rounds, he's getting his ass handed to him, even though he's on the offense. Like, not everything's going to go perfectly, right? Sometimes you're going to go in for that big Superman punch or whatever. Your opponent's just going to be like, get off here, just jab you in the face, like you're going for something flashy, you botch it, whatever, it happens. What happens is how you tell the story from there on out, right? And I see that a lot because it's like, so many times people forget, like, no, they lost me. Oh, they didn't do the reverse runner perfectly. These guys are amateurs. Bruh, stop that. Like, no.
Yeah.
Don't just give up on the match because of one thing.
Yeah, it was the same thing with chain wrestling. I hate chain wrestling when it's too smooth. When it looks like the guy's helping him get around and helping him reverse. And
yeah,
it's like, because if this was real, that guy would be fighting him every step of the way. So it will look a little clunky every now and then. It will look like you're because you're technically forcing this guy to do what you want to do. So it shouldn't be perfectly smooth.
Absolutely right. It's a worked shoot, right? Like, you don't help people and don't put yourself into holds. I hate it. It's the worst thing. Like, I see it at training all the time. Like, you see the guy going underneath, like, oh, he must be going for a hammerlock. Like, no, dude, let him take you into the hammerlock because he might be putting you something else. Like, you don't know.
That's it's like when someone goes to whip somebody and they give them their hand. I hate that.
Yeah. Or see it all the time. Like, so honestly, it's just muscle memory. Like, sometimes, like, you'll see even like the most advanced guys or like the most experienced will still do it because they'll just have a glimpse of, like, they'll just forget and like they've got to think of what's next and it's like, oh, gotta get whipped. That's right. You know what I mean? But like, so I feel like you can't hound anyone too much for it unless they do it all the time.
Yeah. I had a match the other week against a rookie, and he was like, we did this spot where he chopped me around all 4 corners.
Yeah.
And so I was selling like this in the corner, and he's like, move your own hands. I'm like, you have to move my hands for me. Like, if this is real, I'm not going to open up for you. He's like, oh.
Yeah. Like, obviously just smack him in the face or something. I don't know.
So I take it you're sort of back now, full time, ready to go and as many places as you can get to.
Yeah. I think I want to wrestle as much as I can this year. Last year, obviously didn't get to wrestle at all. I think I had 3 matches or 4 matches last year. It was 5 and 3 of them on the same day. That's right. Yeah, I remember that. So like, I didn't wrestle much last year. So this year I just really want to try and get out there as much as I possibly can. Not overall picky as to where it is, as long as like I don't know. I just want to make sure like I can better whatever company I go to or have a positive impact on wherever I go.
Yeah, because I remember there's a problem. Like, I almost think it's last year, with like 2019 was last year, because it feels like 2020 never happened. Because I remember we had you up for Pro Wrestling League. You had a match with Seb and Mitch McCarthy when you took one of the loudest chops I think I've ever heard in my life.
It was a great chop, fantastic chop. It sucked. Yeah. I remember like he chopped me and like the camera's right there, so I'm turning to the camera. I'm like, ow, because it hurt. It hurt so bad.
I remember because I edited that show together, and when he chopped you, I just went, holy shit.
Yeah. Like, I've got I fractured my sternum a couple of times, so it's really iffy. Sometimes, just an overhand or something like that to my sternum might just fracture it again.
Oh wow.
So I do always tell people, like, I don't care if you chop me, just make sure it's not in the middle of my chest. Like, that's the only thing, because like, obviously you can't be a wrestler if you can't take chops. Like, that's part of wrestling, right? Yeah. So I always tell people, like, you can chop me as much as you want. Just if it hits me in the sternum and you fracture my sternum, I will throw them back, or I'll tell you, just roll me up and finish the match because I can't breathe.
Yeah.
So that's where it comes, like, got to look after one another. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to go out there and maliciously hurt someone. And everyone's been okay with it so far. Most people like, oh, I won't chop you then. And then I feel bad because it's like, what if it's your gimmick? You got to chop,
Yeah.
But it's like, if that's their choice, I'm not going to say, nah, dude, chop me. Because he's made the decisions, like, I want to protect you. I don't want to chop you anymore. And I appreciate that. Like, that's really good. That's sportsmanship, and that's working together to put on a match where everyone's going to be safe.
So, what are your goals going forward? Like, are you looking to further it overseas, or are you looking to stay
Just busy right now. Sorry. Sorry, mate. What was that?
All right. What are your goals to like stay in Australia, or do you want to venture overseas? When the world opens up again, of course.
Look, I love traveling. I've traveled heaps. I've traveled most of Europe. I've done New Zealand, Japan, like obviously South Africa. I've done Tanzania. Like I love traveling as a whole. If I can put the two together and wrestle wherever I go, that's fine. But if I, for example, go to England and I don't get a single booking, I'm not going to be upset. I'm in England, for goodness sake. I get to experience Europe. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm not super optimistic about wrestling. Like, I'm very small. Like, no one's going to take me serious when it comes to like giving me full-time contracts and stuff like that. Like, if it happens, it happens. But I'm not putting all my eggs in the wrestling basket because honestly, it's unrealistic at this point. So I just want to experience the world. And if I can do that through wrestling, fantastic. If I have to give up wrestling to do that, that's fine too. Like, I love it, but there are worse things in the world to give up, which would be my health, which would be my goals and dreams in regards to experiencing the world, you know?
I got some listener questions, so I'm gonna
Yes.
fire them towards you, and we'll see how you go.
Let's go. Are they yes, no's? It's like yes, no.
Yeah,
no,
yes, no,
yes,
yeah,
no.
Tick this box.
yeah.
Okay. Michael L asks, who were your favorite wrestlers growing up? You said Rey Mysterio. Were there any other guys that you really sort of, you sort of like a Brooksy where you loved Jeff Hardy?
Oh, I think everyone loved Jeff Hardy because it was something different about him, right? It was just like every time he goes out there, you know something crazy is going to happen. So I love Jeff, Ray, and a big one that people just don't understand is I loved Edge, even though he was probably the biggest heel when the time I was watching. But I loved Edge. I think he was fantastic, and like I hated him so much that I loved him. It's like you're doing something that's making me feel things, and I don't like it, but I do. Yeah, so Edge is a big one.
Anthony P says, which is your favorite promotion to work? Oh, geez.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's a lot of fans don't know this. Most of them probably don't know this, but like the backstage area is probably the most fun of a wrestling show, right? Like getting to see everyone, just get to hang out and stuff like that. And I love working anywhere that I get to socialize and be friends with people. So I don't really have a favorite because in the Melbourne scene, because people wrestle everywhere, it's kind of always the same people. So wherever you go, like regardless if your match is good or not, or if you're happy with it, or if the crowd loved it, you go back there and you have a really supportive, friendship group trying to get you back up to your feet. So I don't have a favorite. I just love having fun. I think a lot of times people take the fun out of wrestling. There's no point playing any sport if you're not going to enjoy it, right? So if a company decides to take the fun out of it, I'll most likely probably not want to work there, which I haven't experienced just yet. But I still like to enjoy wrestling. If someone takes it away, then I don't want to work there.
Yeah. Well, then it's like
doesn't answer the question, does it? But
it's well, you couldn't really. The problem is I didn't really. Where do you not like working?
yeah.
It's so funny. Like you're so right. Like the backstage, if the backstage vibe is great, you have such a good time, and the show feels like better.
Best.
If there's like this cloud over a backstage, it can make the show one of the worst places to be because you just don't want to be there. It's
because you're there for hours and you can't escape it.
And you just feel there's like an animosity in the air the whole time, and it's like, oh, this is just I don't know if I want to come back to this place.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's honestly it's like a whole school assembly where the principals just come up and they've just told you like, I'm really disappointed in you guys. And like, everyone's got this like foul mood where it's like, oh, we're getting told off again. They're going to take our lunch from us. And you don't want to speak up or anything because it's like, you might make a joke and someone giggles and the teacher's on the side, like, oh mate, stop that. You know, like everything you say is just being monitored. And it's like, oh, this sucks. Like, I just want to have fun. Let me go out and have fun.
Yeah. Alex D asks, who are your dream opponents in Australia or other, well, I guess overseas? He's just said he says US, but I'm thinking just overseas. Alex, I'm changing your question. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Alex. Hopefully I'll still answer your question though. But Slex is a big one. I really like to wrestle Slex. I want to wrestle Royce one-on-one. I feel like I just want to kick the ass out of him. Royce annoys me. I love him, but he annoys me. So
I think that's what's good about him. See, that's sort of like you with Edge. I think that's why I like Royce, because I think shit stirrers notice other shit stirrers, and I was like, I like him.
I just want to punch him. This is a punchable face. There's a big secret. I can't say the secret because I think it's something he has to say, but it copped him mad, like not real heat, but like, you know, friendship heat from everyone backstage. Like, you're a dog. Don't ever say that again.
Oh, wow.
I'd like to wrestle Royce and Slex. David Storm would be a big one. Who am I missing? I've wrestled Brooksy in a tag, which is fantastic, but I think just being able to wrestle on one-on-one would be amazing as well. And then overseas, Travis Williams in Canada is a big one. I met him there when I wrestled for ECC Dub. Really cool dude, has some amazing work. And I think obviously COVID has just stopped us being able to wrestle one another because we're both pretty keen on either going there or he comes here or whatever. But like, if you guys want to give him a sus on socials, he's also called the Golden Boy. Sorry, Emin. But great guy. And then obviously like the bigger names as well, like Osprey and like, you know, your Ricochets and stuff like that, which I think right now is probably unrealistic to ask for. But if I'm talking about like realistic people that I'd like to wrestle, probably Trav. And then there was another person that I forgot. I just had it. I'm sorry. I'm really bad with names, if you can't tell. Oh no, stop this. Speedball Mike Bailey. Just ever since we had like a bit of a chat on Twitter every now and again, like it just made me really want to wrestle him. So I guess that's probably a big goal too.
Okay. What wrestling do you watch the most? Like, I think they're asking like, is it AEW? Is it WWE? Is it Ring of Honor, New Japan? Which is sort of your favorite?
It's none, to be honest. No. I don't watch wrestling. I don't watch wrestling, and I know it's really bad to say. And like, it's not. I'm not trying to get people to be like, "Oh, you're cop mad heat, brother." It's just I just don't have time for it. Like, whenever like there's a highlight compilation, or if someone says, "Hey, this match is really good," then I'll go watch it. Like, but it's like I probably wouldn't pay $25 to watch an AEW pay-per-view, or whatever. I don't know how much it is, but if someone says, "Hey, like this match is really good." Yeah, like if someone says this match is fantastic, I'll go watch it. Like I watched the Exploding Barbed Wire death match. Like I watched that because I was told the match is really good. The ending just sucked. Yeah, but the match is fantastic. And I also watched the Britt Baker one that just went past, which is both AEW. But like stuff like that. So if I had to narrow it down to a company, I think most things I've been linked towards was probably still be WWE, to be honest. Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, thank you to everyone that's sent in your questions, and it's been great having you on, sir. What have you got coming up date-wise for shows?
I've got something next weekend. Damn, I shouldn't have said that. No, it's the weekend. It's the weekend after. I'm just going to tell you. I'm in Tassie in 3 weeks.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Announced it. I don't know why.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, so I'm in Tassie. Love working for those guys. Absolutely fantastic bunch of guys. They need more people to go over there. I think people need to understand that like there's some great wrestlers there, and I think they can really progress and get much better by working people to go over there. Like Damon Slater went over there not long ago, and that's a fantastic opportunity for everyone there. So if you're a wrestler and you're listening to this and you want to experience something new, go wrestle at Tassie. Fantastic crowd, fantastic people. You'd love it. And then nothing else has been announced, so I can't tell you. Yeah. I can't tell you, but that's it for now. Yeah.
All right. So, well, when you can announce stuff, how can people follow you on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of that sort of stuff, so they know everything Jett Rouka's doing?
I'm at Jett Rouka on everything. That's JETTROUKA. Nothing fancy, no underscores, no numbers, no apostrophes, nothing. It's just plain old Jett Rouka. Facebook's Jett Rouka as well. Most match announcements will go on there first. So if you want to follow me on there, you can. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm on TikTok too, but that's just because I like watching TikToks.
Are you still going on Twitch, or have you sort of taken a step back from that?
I probably should. Like, I love playing games with friends, but I've got my PS5 now. I'm playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey again, and I put a lot of hours into that game. I think I've got like 500 combined hours since it came out in 2018. So I'm a bit stuck, but I think I'll get it back to it eventually. I've got 201 followers, so if you'd like to be number 202, please follow me.
Yeah, see, basically the only way I can talk to Jake nowadays is by just going when he's on Twitch and talking to him then. Because otherwise it's so it's so hard to get in contact with him. So now it's just like, okay, he's on. I'll just chat to him now.
Yeah, no, he's really good. It's good if people can like commit to that type of thing, because it's hard. It's really hard to stream every day or every second day even. Like people think it's just, oh, you're just playing games. It can't be that hard. But it's constantly talking, trying to entertain people. It's like, you can't just go out there and do whatever you want, because that's not how you got to do what they like. It's kind of like wrestling. Like you got to do what they like, but you also have to make sure you do something that you enjoy as well. So it's like that middle ground,
Yeah, you can do what you want, but it's just got to be entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. It's not
Really,
you can do anything, but if it's not entertaining, they're not going to watch you.
Because Jake's fairly well into it, so I sort of like every now and then I'll just go and look at other channels, and I'm like, why are people watching this? Because you're not like, the game's going on, fair enough, but all you're seeing is like this person in the corner not saying anything, going,
yeah.
At least with like Jake interacts with them, they talks with them, all of that sort of stuff. Yeah. And I think wrestling's probably helped him do that anyway.
Yeah, 100%. Like my friend Ben, he started streaming as well, and I think that was really good for him as well, to try and just, because he's young, right? He's only 20, but like just not a lot of life experience just yet. Like at 20, I'd already lived in Fiji for 8 months. You know what I mean? Like I was teaching there in villages, so like I'd experienced a lot of myself and really grew as a person. And I think Twitch is really good for him to do that, because like essentially you're talking to nobody. You can't see them.
No.
But you got to talk as if they're talking back to you. And like that's a really hard skill to have, especially in life as well. Sometimes people just won't talk back. And if you also don't talk back, nothing will ever happen. You got to be able to lead a conversation,
Yeah. My problem is that my eyesight is shit. So half the time it's like, if I go to Jake's and we're doing a stream, I'll be like this.
Yeah. The whole time. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, you're right, Moondog. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Jett, thank you so much for joining me, mate. It's been a pleasure. And
no problem, mate. Thanks for having me.
You're more than welcome. All the best for 2021, and let's hope everything stays safe. And we don't, up here anyway, we don't have to wear masks so much longer. We can get you up here.
Lovely. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, if you guys want me to wrestle anywhere, let your promotions know. The easiest way to get people over to your shows is by letting promotions know. Wrestlers saying, hey, I want to wrestle here, doesn't do anything. Like, people put on shows for the fans. If you're a fan and you want someone to wrestle there, it doesn't have to be me, but let them know, because most likely they'll listen to you and they'll find a way to at least incorporate those people somehow.
All right, Jett Rouka, thank you so much for joining me, mate.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Once again, big thanks to my guest, Jett Rouka. Go and follow him anywhere you can. He's one of the smart guys that made all of his social medias the same thing. So it's easy enough to follow him. Just at Jett Rouka pretty much in everything. So go and follow him so you'll know when he's coming up, because I know he's getting out there and wrestling at a lot of different places coming up. So if he's in town, go and catch him. He is definitely one of the up-and-coming guys here in Australian wrestling. And like you heard in the interview, helps out at the MCW Academy, helps the young guys coming through. Is a young guy himself. He's also helping give back already. And it's amazing to see, because that's what we want to see. We want to see everyone helping everyone get better. Steel sharpen steel, all of that jazz. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to WRA. It's free. You can do it on Stitcher, iTunes. I say iTunes every time. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. anywhere you get podcasts from, you can follow us on there. Anywhere you anywhere you get your YouTube from. Yeah, it's YouTube. Go on YouTube. We're also going to be on Twitch coming up, just at Wrestle Radio Australia. So get us up there. I'm hopefully, like I said, I might have said, I can't remember. I'm on holidays for a week this week, so I might do some watch-alongs during the week sometime. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm not too sure I'm going to do that, but you never know. Where was I? If you do stop by Apple Podcast, give us a 5-star. It helps us get inside more ears. Share the show and spread the word about professional wrestling in the country like I do every week here on this show. Make sure you like us on Facebook at Wrestle Radio Australia, also at Twitter on Wrestle Radio AU, and also at Instagram on Wrestle Radio AU. I'm also on Twitter at Beast Eastman if you want really bad takes on wrestling. Well, old-fashioned takes on wrestling, because that's pretty much my milieu. I'm a very old-fashioned sort of fan when it comes to wrestling. I like wrestling that makes sense. So I suppose you can sue me. If you want to support the guys, please do. Go to Wrestler Merch. A lot of the wrestlers have got their stuff up on there. I believe Jett Rouka's got some stuff up on there. You probably saw an ad earlier in the show. Contact Jett for his new shirt. Go and hook that up and get in there and support him. If you do, let him know that you heard it from us. So let him know that someone watched a show. Yeah. But like I said, Wrestler Merch is the place to go for wrestlers around the country. So many guys now have their stuff, and girls have their stuff on Wrestler Merch. It's good to see. It's good to see those guys there helping support the industry in Australia, helping support wrestlers getting some extra form of income, because it always helps. Everything helps like that. No real way to support us. Like I said, I pretty much self-fund all of this sort of thing, and that's cool. I don't really care about it. Well, I don't really care that I care, but I don't care. We've got stuff up on Redbubble at Wrestle Radio Australia. All that stuff, anything I make from that, the profits I make, the cut I get, all goes to charities, Gotcha for Life and Beyond Blue. So they're two charities that we really support here at Wrestle Radio Australia. If anyone knows the story with Wrestle Radio Australia, it was originally hosted by myself and Josh Armour. Unfortunately, we lost Josh Armour a couple of years ago now to men's health issues. And yeah, it's something that's really close to my heart. It's close to a lot of hearts of a lot of people in Australian wrestling, actually. So please do go out and support these charities, even if you don't want to buy anything from Redbubble with Wrestle Radio. Just go out and support those charities if you can, because they are doing great things. The local industry, please support any one of their streaming services, because we can't get out to every show around Australia, because let's face it, Australia's not the smallest country in the world, so it's harder for us to get everywhere we can. But if you're not in Sydney, if you're not in Melbourne, you can watch PWA on Fight. You can watch PCW on Fight. You can watch MCW on NCW on demand. Wrestling, was it Australian Wrestling Network? Also have stuff up on there. So they have a lot of the archive of Australian wrestling at the moment up on there. Mike J doing a great job putting all of that stuff together. So go and support them as well. Riot City Wrestling have their own YouTube page where all their shows go up on there. Go and follow that. Just search out Australian wrestling wherever you can. If they've got a YouTube page, sub to it, because you're going to see all the stuff. You're going to catch everything that's going on around the country. You can be as big a fan of EPW. Go and check those guys out. They've got their own streaming service as well. Please go and support those guys, because they are doing great work over in Perth. That will be it for this week on Wrestle Radio Australia. Like I said, I might be doing some stuff on Twitch this week. I don't know who I'm going to have as a guest as of yet, because like I said, I've been going because I'm was going on holiday at work, my shoot work. My brain just went into holiday mode, and I haven't really thought ahead too much so far. So we'll see who we've got next week. I don't know. So it's a big surprise for you and me. Until then, my name's Todd Eastman. It's my opinion. You're entitled to it. We'll see you next week right here on Wrestle Radio Australia.
Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, pour another cup. Let's be busy.